Okay, we got the garden all tilled. That was April 25th. We let it lay fallow for 2 days. So then, well, we had it partially tilled, and then the guy's tractor broke, and then we tilled the rest a few days later. But we weren't able to do anything. So we let it rest and dry a couple days. This is what the Lord's potatoes are doing. They're already up, 2 feet. Those are the potatoes that are self-planted. And they always know when to come up. According to them, we're late. So after we rested the garden a couple days, we did Rogue. Rogue is a noisy gardener. We went ahead and planted our customary 7 rows of potatoes. About, 30 inches between each row. That's all we could afford this year. So we've got 3 rows of reds, and then these are about 40-foot rows, and then a row of Yukon Gold, another row of Yukon Gold, a row of yellow potatoes that I actually don't know what they are, but they're not Yukon Gold. So we're keeping this seed year over year. And then a row of white potatoes. The white potatoes are really, really prolific, and they do quite well for us. And then over here we're planting by blocks, and this is our block of, the front part is Detroit dark red beets, and then we've only planted about, 8 or 10 feet of that, and then a little stake, and then the rest of it is mammoth mangles. That's for the animals. And we're doing rotational gardening. So over here last year was potatoes. This year it's not potatoes. This way you prevent some of the things like disease and insect increase. Okay, so then we've got another block here of the first part is chard. First 8 feet is Swiss chard, Woodhook Giant. And these are all heirloom seeds, so we can keep the seed from it if we want. Beets are hard to make go to seed. Chard goes easy. And then at the back of that is all Berculium 2 carrots. Each one of these blocks, we're planting the blocks north and south, and then within the block are tiny rows. Each row, like with the carrots, the rows are about, 6 inches apart, and the rows are going east and west. Our wind comes from the south and it comes from the west, so this way it has it both covered of being able to move freely through the garden. So the tiny rows go along here, and then 6 inches, another tiny row, and when you're planting in blocks, you get higher yield, I feel, per foot. And the final row over here, we just planted this. We planted all this within the first 2 days, so that was all planted. And then we just planted this yesterday, which is the 29th. And this is a little bit wider row because I'm hoping to be able to get over there other than this plant here and pick from both sides. This is Blue Lake Bush beans, and those are also heirloom. We went with a different company this year because the beans have been adulterated from our other company, and while they're advertised as being pure and GMO free and organic and heirloom, when you put them in the ground from that company, you get all different kinds of beans, including beans with non-edible pods. So that's a problem for me. So we switched companies with our beans, and plus this is more economic for us. They used to sell what they called bulk, and it was really, really good deal. Now they're saying bulk, and it's not a good deal because it's a regular seed packet. So that's what we're doing with that. And the The beans normally, in a normal year, we'd plant around about June. We decided to jump the gun and go ahead and try to beat the weeds. The weeds are already forming. All these little pink guys, those are not planted plants. Those are what's called smartweed, and we've been struggling with that ever since we tossed them on the garden to hope it would mulch, and it spreads by roots and rhizomes, so it's going crazy. So okay, so this is the end of April, and look at, we've already got little potato people up, and we're going to save the rest of our potato seed and try to plant in the fall just for seed, because these got a little bit leggy. The red potatoes did not, but those did. And over here we've planted pickling cukes. Somebody donated some pickling cucumbers, boxes of them last year, and we are really enjoying those. And then we planted some dill alongside, and so that we can hopefully have our own dill. We've never had any luck growing dill, but there it is. We're going to try. That'll be our experiment of the year, right, sister? Dill?
Yeah.
And then the amaranth we've got in these pots, and we're trying to be careful where we grow it because it reseeds easily. Again, this is all pickling cukes all the way down, and then alongside it dill.
The chamomile.
This is russet potatoes here. Normally we would go down that way, but we're going to put pumpkins there this year. They have not done, the potatoes haven't done well those last 3 rows, so we won't do that. These are all squash hills, amended with goat manure. Look at our chamomile. This we planted last year after several attempts.
This is after the sheep ate it.
This is after the sheep ate it. It looks really good.
We're hoping to actually harvest on this year.
And so we finally put it in tiny pots and grew it, and then she put it in this planter, and it stayed through the winter. And so we're trying to perpetuate that.
Never died back, really.
Never died back. So we're kind of excited. We're watering twice a day on the stuff that has small seeds, like the amaranth and the carrots, to make sure it stays wet. That's part of the secret to carrots, is water frequently when they're little, so that they don't get dried out. That's the garden so far. That's the garden report. And the bicycle plow for plowing the potatoes is put away until fall. Stay tuned.